What's up, Internet? Welcome back to another, not episode, what am I even talking about? Another interview here on the show floor of New York Comic Con. I'm sorry, Chip. I'm here with Chip Zdarsky, artist of Sex Criminals, writer of Jughead and Spider-Man. What's going on, Chip? How's your con been so far? All right, how you enjoying that lollipop?
I love it. I love it all.
Well, we love you, so it seems like you're in good company. So, Chip, as the artist of Sex Criminals, you have obviously drawn some NSFW art in your day. So I had to take the opportunity to ask you, would you call yourself a boob man or a butt guy?
Boobs are just the butts of the chest, and butts are just the boobs of the behind. So kind of six or half dozen the other, really.
All right, I like that answer. So while we're on the subject of your art, I wanted to ask just, who would you say are some of your biggest influences? Who were the artists that you really admired when you were kind of honing your craft?
Oh, man, that's a hard one. Because, names I list, you wouldn't think it because of the art that I do, but, Walt Simonson.
Okay.
Fucking huge influence. I love that guy's stuff. John Byrne back in the day. Later on in life, Daniel Clowes. But now I find I'm looking at, current people. Sure. Chris Anka on Star-Lord, just blew my mind. That guy is, what I want to be as an artist. He's fucking amazing. Yeah, so it's kind of contemporaries, too. Chris Samney, David Aja, he's amazing. Annie Wu, her stuff on Hawkeye, The Bomb. Man, there's so many.
Name drops there, though.
Yeah, and they're all personal friends.
So I wanted to ask, what made you decide, when did you first know you wanted to get into comics?
About 3 years ago. Well, it's one of those things, when you're a kid, I think anyone who reads comics as a kid, they're just that's what I want to do when I grow up. So I had that phase. But then I went to art school, and the first thing they said was, if you're drawing comics, get out. We don't want you. We don't want you comic types in here.
Good.
Immediately. And so I just stopped. I just did illustration work. So I ended up working for a newspaper for 14 years. And while I was doing that, I was kind of doing my little comics on the side, just for fun. And then Matt and I kind of hooked up and did Sex Criminals. And I said, fuck you to newspapers. You dying print industry. I jumped into comics. Another dying print industry. Because I'm real fucking smart.
Hey, I mean, you got a lot more space to work with there at least.
Yeah.
So since your run on the New Riverdale Jughead book, you've been, back in 2015, you've been kind of seen a lot as a writer lately. So
Yeah.
So can you just tell me a little bit, how does your creative process differ from when you're drawing a comic versus when you're scripting one?
When you're drawing a comic, there's a lot of drudgery involved because it's repetition. Working on Sex Criminals for the past 3-4 years, I've drawn the same characters over and over again, having conversations over and over again. So after a while, that kind of repetition affects your brain. But as a writer, I'm a god. I am a god. I will write a sentence, and you will spend a day drawing it, Joe Canonis.
So would you say that when it comes to your writing, you said, right, there's that issue of drawing the same character over and over again. Granted, you haven't been writing any books for that long, but do you find that it's different when you're crafting the character's voice versus having to draw them in those kind of more mundane situations, just making small talk?
Yeah, I mean, with Howard the Duck, Joe and I did 16 issues. So by the end of that run, you kind of get used to a voice. Yeah. And it's very similar to drawing. You get used to drawing the characters. Looking back in Volume 1 of Sex Criminals, you can see characters are kind of a bit all over the place because I'm trying to figure out the character behind the character, as cheesy as that sounds.
Not at all.
And writing is the same way. You can kind of go in with the idea of a character, but as you go along, you discover different depths to them, and it changes the way you write them. And Howard was kind of that. I kind of started off with him being angry and kind of transitioned into sad. That's my style.
That's his wheelhouse, too.
Yeah, totally.
So currently you're working on Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and it's been described in a lot of the kind of, PR stuff for it as a back-to-basics Spider-Man book. Uh-huh. So what does that mean to you?
Sorry, I'm really hungry.
No, do your thing, man. It's Saturday. You're working hard. I'm gonna vamp. We're gonna let Chip finish his banana. He's been working very hard. My question is, what does a back to basics Spidey book mean to you? You know, like what makes this book different than what we're seeing in Amazing Spider-Man?
Well, I brought Uncle Ben back to life.
Oh well, you heard it here first.
Yeah, back to basics. It's kind of a weird phrase for it because basically Dan Slott's been writing Amazing Spider-Man for like 10 years.
Yeah.
As a result of that, he's taken Peter into all sorts of new directions. Like he's kind of like finding new ways to tell Spider-Man stories and different Spider-Man stories. So it's awesome, but also the trick with that is sometimes he doesn't become unfamiliar, but he becomes something different than what the public kind of sees Spider-Man as. So like, for example, the current run of Parker Industries, somebody who just saw the movie going in to pick up the book would be like, what happened to Teenage Spider-Man?
Right.
And so the kind of job of our book was to basically inject more humor into it, kind of keep him grounded in New York, and introduce more of the supporting cast and kind of play up the traditional elements of what you'd imagine a Spider-Man comic to be. Yeah. So that's basically it.
Cool. Can you tease anything about the future of the book that we haven't seen yet?
Yes. Issue 6 is a very unexciting issue in the sense that it's a dinner between Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, that sounds very exciting.
The whole issue is them having dinner. Lasagna. That's one thing no one's mentioned on any news site.
You got the pull quote right there. Lasagna with J. Jonah Jameson. Sign me up.
Yeah. No PR has mentioned the lasagna for dinner. But it's actually kind of a huge story because it's kind of about their relationship kind of reaching kind of a fevered pitch during this dinner. So that's issue 6. Mike Walsh does the art on it, and it's awesome, and I highly suggest people pick it up. Issue 7's crazy. It's Peter Parker, Die Hard, in his apartment building, and or like Batman Year One, like trying to get out while like the cops are trying to arrest him, and it's really cool. And after that, it goes fucking off the rails.
So we got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, provided they don't fire me.
So go and buy the book so that Chip can keep eating bananas and lollipops. Yeah. Okay, cool. So Chip, thank you so much for your time. We'll let you get out of here. I know you're trying to get out of here. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chip. I'm sorry. Woof. All right. And if you... Yeah, it's been a long day. So if you guys want to connect with more of our stuff, you can subscribe to the channel, like this video, do us a favor, share it with your friends. Come back for the rest of the interviews we have here at New York Comic Con from the show floor, and we'll see you then.